قبل 100 عام كشفت معادلة توحي بأنها بسيطة عن وحدة خفية مدفونة عميقا في نسيج الكون. إنها تحدثنا عن علاقة مدهشة بين الطاقة والمادة والضوء. مكتشفها هو الشاب ألبرت انشتين. إنها أشهر معادلة في العالم. الطاقة تساوي الكتلة ضرب مربع سرعة الضوء. مع أن معظمنا سمع بفكرة أينشتاين الكبيرة، فإن قليلين منا يعرفون معناها. في الحقيقة معادلة الطاقة تساوي الكتلة ضرب مربع سرعة الضوء بالغة الأهمية لدرجة أن أينشتاين نفسه ما كان واثقا من صحتها.
Albert, darling, you're later than I expected. We've only got sausage and cheese tonight. What is it?
We need to talk.
Has something happened?
Oh, no, nothing. Sorry, no. I spent most of the day staring out the window at work, looking at trains. And I started to think about an object and how much energy it had. Can I explain it to you?
Of course you can. But first, dinner, food and talk.
I think the gods are laughing at me.
لم تكن أي قوى تسخر من أينشتاين. لقد استحوذت عليه رؤية مذهلة، عمل خاض فيه العديدون قبله. علماء كافحوا وعلماء ماتوا للتوصل إلى بعض أجزاء المعادلة. إن حكاية المعادلة بدأت قبل أينشتاين بمدة طويلة، مع ظهور حرف طاء كرمز للطاقة. في بدايات القرن 19 لم يكن العلماء ينظرون إلى المسائل من خلال الطاقة. كانوا ينظرون إلى الأشياء على أنها قوى منفصلة، قوى منفصلة إحداها عن الأخرى وغير مترابطة. قوة الريح، قوة إغلاق الباب، قرقعة البرق. فكرة أن يكون هناك نوع من الطاقة الرابطة بين القوى لم تكن قد اكتشفت بعد. جهد شخص واحد سيؤدي إلى تغيير فهمنا لهذا السر الغامض في الطبيعة.
Young Michael Faraday hated his job. He was uneducated, the son of a blacksmith. He'd been lucky to become a bookbinder's apprentice. But Faraday craved one thing. He craved knowledge. He read every book that passed through his hands. He developed a passion for science. All of his free time and his meager wages were poured into his self-education. He was on the threshold of an incredible journey into the invisible world of energy.
أثار فاراداي إعجاب أحد زبائن سيده، وكوفئ ببطاقة غيرت مجرى حياته.
Can I pass, please?
Can I pass?
Some of us are trying to improve ourselves. If people will let us.
Of course. Pass. This way to a better life.
In the early 1800s, science was a pursuit of gentlemen, something Faraday was clearly not. He had a rudimentary education, he'd read widely, he'd gone to public lectures. But in 1812, he was given tickets to hear Sir Humphrey Davy, the most prominent chemist of the age.
كان علماء القرن 19 نجوم عصرهم. كانت محاضراتهم ذائعة الصيت. ومن الصعب الحصول على بطاقة دخول لحضور إحداها. كان ديفي منتشيا بمكانته.
They're waiting. I know.
وكان متابعا دقيقا لآخر مكتشفات أكسيد النيتروجين أو الغاز المثير للضحك. كان يقول إن فيه كل خواص الكحول من دون آثاره السلبية.
Electricity, ladies and gentlemen. A mysterious force that can unravel the confusing mixture of intermingled substances that surround us and produce pure elements.
Davy was an absolutely first-rate scientist. However, many will come to say that his greatest discovery is Michael Faraday.
Metals unknown, that is, until I isolated potassium from molten potash and sodium, as I showed you last time, from common salt. That same magical
لم يكن فاراداي من النبلاء، لكنه ما كان ليسمح للحواجز الطبقية أن تقف دون تحقيق طموحاته العلمية. عمل ليل نهار ليجعل ملاحظات المحاضرات بين دفتي كتاب من أجل بطله الجديد.
Lord, help me to think only of others, to be of use to mankind. Help me be part of the great circle that is your work and love. Lord, I am your servant.
Well, this is excellent work, Faraday. So what is it you aim to do with your life?
My desire, sir, is to escape from trade, which I find vicious and selfish, and to become a servant of science, which I imagine makes its pursuers amiable and liberal.
Really? Well, I shall leave it to the experience of a few years to set you right on that score. Look, I haven't anything at the moment. I'll send a note if anything comes up.
على الرغم من هذه الانتكاسة المذلة، قرر فاراداي التخلص من الكدح اليومي، وتكلل سعيه بالنجاح.
Newman, meet Mr. Michael Faraday. He's going to be my helper while I recover. He assures me he is a Christian fellow. Perhaps with God and Faraday in charge of the chemicals, you and I will be safe in our place of work.
Thank you, Professor Davy. Welcome, Faraday.
Oh no, thank you, and thank you, Sir Humphrey.
Just stick to your job and do as you're told, and you'll be fine, Faraday.
أصبح فاراداي مساعداً مخبرياً يهضم بشغف كل معلومة يتلقفها من ديفي. لكن مع مرور الزمن استطاع التلميذ أن يتفوق على أستاذه. الكهرباء كانت صرعة تلك الأيام. لقد تم اختراع البطارية وأجريت كل أنواع التجارب، لكن أحداً لم يكن يدرك معنى القوة الكهربائية.
The academic establishment at the time thought that electricity was, like a fluid flowing through a pipe, pushing its way along. But in 1821, a Danish researcher showed that when you pass an electrical current through a wire and place a compass near it, it deflected the needle at right angles.
كانت تلك أول مرة يشاهد الباحثون فيها تأثير الكهرباء في المغناطيس. أول لمحة لقوتين كان يعتقد أنهما منفصلتان، وتبين أنهما متحدتان بطريقة لا تفسير لها.
Faraday, come look at this. Another bright spark around here. Perhaps you can work it out. Ersted's reported an amazing finding. We're just replicating it here.
Let's try the compass on the other side.
Now, that is remarkable.
But if the electrical force is flowing through the wire, why does the needle not move in the same direction, parallel to the wire?
Quite. Let's try turning the whole apparatus round.
Again, Newman.
So, the electrical force goes this way. The compass points that way. How can one affect the other?
Perhaps the electricity is throwing out some invisible force as it moves along.
What?
Perhaps some sort of electrical force is emanating outwards from the wire.
Oh, my dear boy, let me tell you that at the University of Cambridge, electricity flows through a wire, not sideways to it.
Well, that may be what they teach at Cambridge, but it doesn't explain what's happening before our eyes.
No, let's just get on. Let's swap the compass to below the wire.
لماذا انحرفت البوصلة نحو القوائم اليمينية؟ لماذا أثرت الكهرباء في البوصلة أصلاً؟ هذا ما أذهل ديفي والآخرين.
As we celebrate the marriage of Michael and Sarah.
بالنسبة إلى فاراداي قضت المشكلة مضجعه، كأنها إلهام من الله. كانت المشكلة بالنسبة إليه طريقة لفهم معجزات الله.
There was a small, almost persecuted group in London called the Sandemanians. They were religious, not really a sect, they were just a small subset, sort of like Quakers. Faraday was a member of that group. It was a very gentle, decent group. They believed that underneath the whole surface of reality, everything was created by God in a unified way, that if you opened up one little part of it, you could see how everything was connected.
Michael Faraday was someone who, like Einstein, thought in terms of pictures.
Faraday was different from anybody else. He had a flair for understanding his experiments, for understanding what was really going on inside them.
عندما حرك فاراداي البوصلة حول السلك، بدأ يلاحظ نمطاً معيناً.
What everyone else at the time had been taught was that forces travel in straight lines. Faraday was different. Faraday imagined that invisible lines of force flowed around an electric wire. And then he imagined that a magnet had similar lines emerging from it, and that those lines would get caught up in this flow. It was a bit like a flag in a wind.
لكن قفزة فاراداي الكبرى كانت في قلب التجربة رأساً على عقب. فبدلاً من أن يحرك السلك المكهرب إبرة البوصلة، تساءل إن كان في وسع المغناطيس الساكن تحريك السلك.
I've never seen you like this, Faraday. You look like a happy child.
I'm shaking, Newman. Underneath, I'm shaking. You see, John? You see? Yes.
This is the experiment of the century. It's the invention of the electric motor. Scale up the magnets and the wires, make them really big. Attach heavy weights to them, and they'll be dragged along. But almost more importantly, he's inventing a new kind of physics here.
مع أنه لم يدرك الأمر في البداية، فإن فاراداي عرض مبدأ التقويس، وهو تحول المواد الكيميائية في البطارية إلى كهرباء في السلك، التي اتحدت مع المغناطيس لتنتج الحركة. وخلف كل هذه القوى كانت هناك الطاقة العادية.
A couple of months earlier, Davy had been elected president of the Royal Society, which was the elite body of English science. But then he saw this great discovery published in the Quarterly Journal of Science. I don't know if he was envious, but he certainly saw that this young man who had been his assistant, this mere blacksmith's son, had come up with one of the greatest discoveries of the Victorian era.
Davy accuses Faraday of plagiarizing similar work from another eminent British scientist, William Wollaston.
So, Faraday, what does Wollaston make of all this?
He's written to me and assures me that he's taken no offense. And he acknowledges that what I published was entirely my own work.
Right. Davy is just being an ass.
But will Davy now retract his allegation?
Sadly, no. In fact, he's still vehemently opposed to you being elected a member of the Society.
Really? And what do you think?
Faraday, my dear boy, you have my vote.
And mine. And I believe you even have Wollaston's.
Oh. What a mess.
Well, no matter. No matter. It's the science that counts. So tell me, how does this wire of yours spin round its magnet? What mysterious forces are at play?
There seems to be an electromagnetic interaction. In my mind, I see a swirling array of lines of force spinning out of the electrified wire, like a spiraling web.
But invisible lines of force, it's all a bit vague, isn't it?
Faraday, might I have a word in private?
Certainly.
Listen, Faraday, let's stop this nonsense. I want you to take down your ballot paper from the notice board.
Sir Humphrey, I see no reason to take it down. My friends have proposed me. It is they who put the paper up. I will not take it down. Good day.
تم انتخاب فاراداي عضواً في الجمعية الملكية، وتوفي ديفي بعد 5 سنوات نتيجة استنشاق الكثير من الغازات. ومع مرور الزمن أدت بحوث فاراداي حول القوى غير المرئية إلى فهم جديد للطاقة. أطلق ما يسميه أينشتاين الثورة الكبرى. في قلب عالم الطاقة المثير هذا نشأ أينشتاين.
My father and uncle wanted to make their fortune by bringing electric light to the streets of Germany. From an early age, I loved to look at machines, understand how things work.
He's going to kill himself. Albert, stay there.
I experienced a miracle when my father showed me a compass. I trembled and grew cold. There had to be something behind objects that lay deeply hidden. At high school, they had their ideas about what I should learn. I had my own. I was merely interested in physics, maths, philosophy, and playing the violin. Everything else was a bore.
Einstein! On your feet! As you obviously know everything about geology, tell me, how does a rock start run here?
It's pretty much the same to me whichever way they run, Herr Professor.
حاول أساتذة أينشتاين أن يدخلوا في رأسه كما حصل مع فاراداي أن الطاقة يمكن أن تتحول من شكل إلى آخر. كانوا يعتقدون أيضاً أن كل أشكال الطاقة قد تم اكتشافها. كان أينشتاين يحاول إثبات الخطأ الذي تسببوا به. سيكتشف أن خزاناً هائلاً جديداً من الطاقة مخفي في مكان لم يخطر في بال أحد من العلماء، عميقاً في قلب المادة. قبل 100 عام من ولادة أينشتاين كان الملك لويس ال15 على عرش فرنسا، لكن السلطة الملكية المطلقة على الشعب كانت قد بدأت تواجه التحديات. الثورة الفرنسية كانت على الأبواب.
This was the era of enlightenment, when intellectuals believed very firmly that the way forward lay in science. And they felt that one of the first tasks that lay ahead of them was to rationalize and to classify every single kind of matter so they could see how it all interacted together.
قرر أنطوان لافوازييه الشاب الأرستقراطي الثري أن ينكب على هذه المهمة لمعرفة ما إذا كانت هناك صلة جوهرية بين جميع الأشياء وعناصر الحياة اليومية في العالم. لكن ما ساعد لافوازييه كعالم هو اهتمامه الدقيق بالتفاصيل، وهو أيضا ما أدى إلى سقوطه.
Monsieur Lavoisier, you are, if my eyes do not deceive me, consuming only milk this evening. First you had a glass of milk, now you are eating a bowl of milk. Will you next move on to a plate of milk?
Your precise observations commend you as a lady of scientific curiosity, mademoiselle. Most unusual. As you seek knowledge, so I shall dispense it. For the last 5 weeks, I have taken nothing but milk.
Good God, man. I would rather die than fast on milk for 5 weeks. Are you in the grip of some horrendous ailment?
On the contrary, I am investigating the effects of diet on health.
Monsieur, with the greatest of respect to a member of the Royal Academy of Sciences, your gut must think your throat has been slit.
Whereas your gut, Count, is no doubt petitioning the Academy for a widening of your throat.
Marianne, how dare you insult the Count? Don't forget what the Count offers. Not just marriage, but think of how you will be introduced to all the salon. You will be the toast of Paris.
Would it not be a shame, madame, to burden you with the duties of matrimony before you have had a chance to experience your curiosity for nature?
Shall we all go through? It's getting rather hot in here.
You really plan to marry the Amava?
There is a plan, but it is not mine.
Then I must contrive to save you.
لم يكن لافوازييه عالما بالمعنى المهني، كان مدير تنفيذ الضرائب في باريس. كانت فكرته الكبيرة هي بناء سور ضخم حول المدينة وفرض الضريبة على كل ما يدخل أو يخرج منها، لكن ضرائبه على السلع البسيطة كالخبز والخمر والأجبان لم تجعله محببا لدى مواطني باريس العاديين. هذا الشاب المفرط الدقة والحساسية كان مع ذلك لا يحرم نفسه أحيانا من بعض الممارسات العاطفية. في عام 1771 تزوج لافوازييه من ماري آن بولز ابنة زميله في دائرة الضرائب، وبذلك أنقذها كما وعد من زواج معد مسبقا من كونت يكبرها ب40 سنة.
Allow me to show you something.
Lavoisier, I think, found his job as a tax collector really rather tedious, and the times he looked forward to were the evenings and the weekends when he could indulge his passion for chemical experimentation. And he called those times his jours de bonheur, his days of happiness.
Madame. What will happen if I take a bar of copper or iron and leave it outside in the rain for months on end? Madame, Lavoisier.
Monsieur Lavoisier.
The metals. What will become of them?
Is this a verbal examination? Prior to an examination proper, sir?
I merely seek the truth.
Then you joy with me, monsieur, for you know the truth. The copper will become covered in a green verdigris, and the iron will rust. I believe the term is calcined.
Most impressive, my charming wife. But let me press you further. When the metal rusts, does it get heavier or lighter?
Why, sir, I think you mean to trap me.
Oh. Then perhaps this little butterfly should land and allow me to take a closer look.
Every last citizen in